he comes so prepared. And I think this is his best recording ever. I think this is the best I've ever heard Paul on drums. And people that I've been talking to since I've been here, a couple guys in particular said Paul really stepped up. And I'm like, I never thought he did bad before, but yeah, he did do great on this record. And Gary, we just had Gary, we brought him in for some leads. I thought that would be the best way to introduce a guitar player to a band that's been around 30 years. I thought, as a fan and being in the band, I thought that would be the best way for him to get his feet wet and for the fans to get a piece of him on our record. I mean, of course, the last 4 years have been odd. But for me, it started when Jeff got injured. I took it upon myself to say, I don't know if Jeff's gonna come with any material. I don't know if he's gonna come with a whole fucking record. So I've got to prepare. So I started working on a lot of new material in beginning of 2011. And this is the culmination of that material. Obviously Jeff didn't bring a whole lot. You know, he got the song from the last record. And the song we recorded that I mentioned to you, that song's 20 years old. He just never finished it. And it was one of the ones that I actually liked. I'm like, dude, you gotta finish that song. And me and Tom both liked it. So we made sure we finished that. I had the chorus, and I was still playing around with it, and I didn't know what I wanted it to be about, because I mean the chorus is really like 8 words. So, you know, it doesn't sum up anything. And then I thought, I can make this about Jeff. I can make this how I think Jeff looked at life. I didn't have to tell anybody it was the song I wrote about Jeff, because you never would have known. But I think it's important. So many still ask why. I've said 1,000,000 times. There's nothing that be looking over us. It's just a choice you make. Slayer hasn't done a record in 6 years. So it was kind of like a coming out party for us. That's how I see it. And when you think about Terry Date, of course, I know him from Pantera, but I never knew him. I knew his name, I knew his work. And it seems to me, I didn't have this conversation with him, but it seems to me like he didn't have anything major recently. At least if he did, I don't know what it was. So for me, it was kind of like both of us could be a part of this, and both of us can be like, yeah, we're not done, we're still here, we're kicking, and we're kicking pretty hard. Blood was like paste on the wall. Bodies laid lifeless like dogs. Stillness comes. There's another funny story with that one. When the stillness comes, you know European festivals and bands stay. Say for instance, we're staying in Paris because you're playing a festival 3 hours away and there's no hotels there. You know, when you're doing that for 5 weeks, some of them drives get really fucking maddening. And I remember one day we were all in this fucking van driving 3 hours, and I was just miserable in the back seat. And I got my phone out and I just started, I'm like, I might as well write some lyrics. So I was just having hateful thoughts. And the funny thing about that song, that's one of 2 or 3 songs historically there's actually lyrics before there was music. Mankind constantly parading its flaws, tangling the strings of the orthodox laws like a fire. I mean, I'm an old school Maiden fan for sure. Of course, Black Sabbath. But Black Sabbath's the obvious choice. Ozzy's amazing. But for me, it would be Judas Priest. It's got everything. It's got the probably the best singer we've ever heard. Tipton's one of my favorite guitar players and highly overlooked. And great drummers. I mean, the one time I wasn't into Priest, and it wasn't because of Priest, it's because of Dave Holland. I hated that drummer because he wasn't any good. And that's when all their hits came out, you know, the more rock and roll metal hits. Dude, I still get goosebumps when I hear Rob Halford sing. It's one of the most amazing things ever. You know, Ronnie James Dio was the same way. It was a Judas Priest show. It wasn't my favorite tour for them. It was on Point of Entry, which here was called something else. The one after British Steel. And Halford was wearing his denim outfit that year, which I was bummed because I wanted to see the leather metal god, you know, and it was the first time I got to see Priest. So it was big for me, but Iron Maiden opened for them on, I can't remember if Killers had just come out or if it was right before Killers, but Priest with Maiden, that's pretty fucking awesome. 2 of my favorite bands, and then I got to see them in the same show when I was young enough to care. I think, number one, it's hard to be a government anywhere. terrorism, it's like when I think of police are supposed to protect us. They have to protect us. They have to protect us against weapons that they don't have. And these weapons are far better than theirs. That's what I think about government and terrorism. Government's got access to just about everything, but the terrorists have the same things and aren't afraid to use it. So it's a very fine line, and I certainly don't have an answer.